Good evening, Commissioners. This meeting of the Brockton Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely in accordance with Governor Healy's open meeting provisions, updated in March of 2023, which extended certain COVID-19 provisions until March 31st of 2025. Real-time public participation and comment can be addressed to the Conservation Commission utilizing the Zoom virtual meeting software for remote access. If you wish to comment during a public input portion of the hearing, please use the raise your hand function to be addressed at the appropriate time. For those of you joining by phone only, please press star nine to raise your hand. A copy of this recording will be on the city's webpage. Please note that this is a professional meeting. Should disrespectful or inappropriate statements be made during the meeting, the host reserves the right to mute the speaker. All votes taken during this meeting will be done by a roll call vote to ensure count accuracy. Do you know if Peggy is present, Kyle?
Peggy is not in the attendees room, so I've not seen her.
Okay, then we can begin with the commissioners. If you could please confirm your attendance at this time by stating your first and last name.
Laura Beekler here.
Ruby Clay here.
Lily Green here.
Tarifa Mapp here.
And Joyce Voris here. So quorum, we do have quorum. And so the meeting is in order. Okay. Let me see, the first item on the agenda. Well, before I state the first item on the agenda, I just will make a statement about the projects that have been continued to the February 21st meeting at the applicant's request. Those are number 3, 549 Copeland Street, number 5, 166 East Ashland Street, number 6, 511 Thatcher Street, and number 8, 137 Perkins Avenue.
Madam Chair, if I may,
yes.
One of the attendees, Scott Daggett, is representing 511 Thatcher Street.
511 Thatcher.
So we may, when we get to that on the agenda, just see if he has something to contribute tonight.
Yep, let me just make note of that, please. Hold on. 511 Thatcher. Okay, so we'll make sure that, I'm sorry, what was his name?
Scott Daggett with Farland Corp.
Yep. Good, thank you. Okay, and you've heard nothing else from Toby Road? Have you heard anything from Toby Road? Is anybody here for?
So this is the this is the project. This is an ANRAD for
right.
Toby Road. I did send out an email to Evan Watson, who represented the applicant for this filing, and I never got a continuance request. So
okay, we'll see if anyone appears. We'll see if anyone appears for, you know.
Sure, there shouldn't be any discussion here. The current status of this, just for the commission's information, is the applicant has yet to fund the scope and fee for Beta's peer review. So no action's been taken on this since the meeting that it was initially proposed. So I don't anticipate much discussion tonight, but I didn't hear back from the applicant.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So the first commission matter would be the, by the way, hello, Elise Tripp. Nice to see you.
You too.
So the first item on the agenda would be the meeting minutes from December 13th. Commissioners, have you had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any questions or omissions or anything that needs to be changed? If not,
I didn't identify any.
Okay, thank you, Ruby. I'll entertain a motion then, since I don't see any negative responses. I entertain a motion then to accept the minutes from the last meeting as read.
I make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from December 13th, 2023.
Motion seconded.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the meeting minutes from December 13th. Roll call vote, please.
Beekler, aye.
Clay, aye.
Green, aye.
Mapp, aye.
And Voris, aye. The motion passes. Thank you. Okay. So the next item on the agenda, the first new filing, or I think it is the only new filing this month, would be a notice of intent for 155 Winthrop Street. Is there someone here representing the applicant?
No, I don't see anyone representing the applicant here to speak to this project. I got an email from Brooke Monroe, who kind of has been working with me on this. She had a family emergency, so I knew that she wasn't able to attend the meeting tonight. I did speak to Keith Brewer, who was going to try to join the meeting tonight. I spoke to him on the phone today. I don't see him in here, so I can kind of go through the filing here. That's okay with you?
It's fine. Let me just,
Okay, I can share my screen here. I've got the site plan, the restoration plan up here. So I'm gonna drop that so we can kind of see that as we discuss this. Okay. So this is, oh. Okay, do you guys see the map?
yes.
Okay, great. So this is an after the fact notice of intent filing for 155 Winthrop Street. This was filed in response to a violation notice that I issued in May for the unpermitted paving of basically the entire backyard on this property. So if you look at the plan here, the house and the existing shed are in red, but the pavement initially, before they did the pavement extension, basically ended right around the house here. So the spring, they paved this entire backyard area up to Cold Spring Brook, which is an intermittent stream that links into Salisbury Brook. So we issued a violation notice initially. The homeowners were willing to work with us, but we weren't quite sure what we were going to require of them in order to bring the site into compliance. Eventually, we kind of decided, the commission, we've had this discussion, the commission decided that we were going to require that they remove all pavement within the 25-foot riverfront area, and then do a restoration planting in that region. And that's kind of what we communicated back to the homeowners. And this is the plan that they've kind of put together with Pine Brook. Let's see, Pine Brook Consulting is the firm that they're working with here. So I went out on the site last Wednesday with Brooke Monroe, who kind of developed this plan, and we made some modifications. This plan that we're looking at now is a revised plan. This is not the initial plan that was submitted with the notice of intent. We added a few things here. We added some things to the plan. There was a chain link fence on the north side of the property that wasn't included on the initial plan. So I asked that she include that here. So that's listed here. There's a chain link fence there. One of the comments from Mass DEP when they issued the file number for this site was that they wanted some different tree species selected for use here. So what we ended up doing is we removed the initial tree species, which was
Dogwood, I think.
the flowering dogwood was initially on the plan. We removed that and replaced that with red maple. But beyond that, that was the only comment or concern that Mass DEP had about this restoration plan. We also included on the plan the diameter of the silt sock. That wasn't listed initially. It just said erosion control silt sock. So we put the 12-inch silt sock there on the plan. And then finally, excuse me, I talked to Brooke about installing some sort of like water break or some sort of control structure here on the southern portion of the restoration area, because this entire area is paved and it's slanted back. The grade isn't steep, but it is slanted back towards the brook here in the back of the yard. And I was concerned about sheet flow running across this newly paved surface and then starting to erode the restoration area. And we don't want that as we do the restoration. So Brooke on this plan has suggested that we go with a 5-foot kind of in length, well, not length, not across, but like in deep, a 5-foot deep, not into the ground. I'm sorry. Let's see, a 5-foot
Width.
like
Wide.
yeah, sure, like a strip of 5 feet, between the buffer zone and the pavement, right? That may be more than we really need to kind of, I don't think there's going to be that much water velocity. So that's something that we may change on this plan. So that's kind of the plan here. Now, I've spoken to the homeowners and they're concerned about losing space here. So I guess at this point, I would like to show some photos of the property when I was out there on the site visit on Wednesday, because I think that will help give a little bit of context to the commission as to what the homeowners' concerns are, and give us a little bit more context to see how we want to proceed with kind of our input on this plan here. So I'm going to stop sharing this.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to inquire while Kyle is pulling up those photos. Is this a new hearing? And if so, have we opened it?
Oh, and that's a very good point. We
I just
certainly do
wanted
have to.
It just
Thank
occurred
you.
to me before we
Thank
did
you.
any further discussion, that
Thank you.
if it's not open, we will want to do so.
Thank you. We do need to open it, as well as assure that the DEP file number and the abutters have been notified.
They had been notified, and they had been issued a DEP file number.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Lisa.
Are you able to see this photo here that I have pulled up?
Mhm.
Okay, so this is just kind of to show you how close the pavement in the back gets to the brook. And Brockton has a 25-foot like kind of riverfront area, and that's kind of the jurisdictional area that the commission's kind of dealing with this filing. I'm gonna file through to the next photo. And again, this is the back of the lot. You can see the brook kind of runs behind this chain link fence. You'll note there's a porta potty here. This material underneath the tarp is the fence material that they haven't. When I first went out there in May, Elise was there with me. They were installing this nice looking white fence on both sides of the property with the intention of closing out the entire lot. When I was there in the spring, I recommended that they don't complete that fence at that time in case we require them to do some sort of restoration. So this is just material for the rest of that fence should they ever decide to complete that. That's what that kind of that stuff there is. But again, you'll note this porta potty. We're going to go to the next photo. The porta potty is relevant because it looks like they have, and you'll note these lines here on the asphalt. I'm going to do one more photo here. I have a wider shot. So they have a setup for volleyball in the back here. And they've got tents here, and I'm not sure if that's for seating or if that's for covering for food. The initial reason that I was called out or made aware of this is because on the south side of this lot, there's a city park. And there were like the community was having kind of volleyball tournaments there. And this property was supplying food for these events without like the proper city permits. So they got on the radar of the Quality of Life Task Force, and the Quality of Life Task Force informed me that this pavement had happened back here. So all that is to say that they may be having events here, and this is a pretty serious setup that they've got. These poles here are not temporary. That's like into the asphalt over on this side. So the porta potty is I think they're having events, you know. So the homeowner, they're concerned about losing this area because that will potentially impact their volleyball space. So one thing that they are trying to do is minimize the area that we are restoring. And I told them basically that the 25-foot setback is not really negotiable, but they have some concerns or some ideas about how we can actually deal with the restoration portion of that. So I just wanted to kind of show you these photos so the commission is kind of aware of what the use of this space likely will be moving forward. I'm going to go back to the site plan briefly so we can look at that. Okay, so back to the site plan. One thing that the owners, the homeowners were inquiring about to see what the commission's thoughts were. Right now you can kind of see, let me see if I can zoom in here. The restoration planting itself is, we'll have bushes of an assortment of varieties and trees kind of, and that's what these icons are in this area. So this is all the restoration area. The homeowners were inquiring if we could have maybe grass or something planted in the first half of this space and have all the, the woody vegetation on the northern portion of this. And I think that's to maintain space, even if it goes from asphalt to grass, they can still use for volleyball or sporting events. That's a decision the commission can decide upon. We don't necessarily have to make that decision now, but I just wanted to raise that concern for you. Since there's no one here to represent the applicant, and there is a language barrier from the homeowners, they don't speak English very well. I thought we would have this meeting tonight where we would show you the plans. We could have a discussion if that's warranted, and then we wouldn't really vote on anything tonight. We would allow a month or so we can convey any discussion topics that we have as the commission to the homeowners, and so they could give feedback before we decide how we want to proceed with this filing.
Kyle, I have a quick question. Is there any way that you could indicate on this map where the outside bound, that first boundary, the lined boundary, the one that's closest to the river?
Yeah,
Closest.
yeah. So
Where would that be if you were to draw it on this particular on this particular map?
Right. So the river, Cold Spring Brook, is right back here. So that first photo that we looked at, there's a chain link fence that goes right around here. So
Right.
This portion of the site. Do you see
And
the
so
map?
the line boundary of the outer boundary of the volleyball court. do you
Oh,
think?
okay. See, that's not on this plan. If I had to
No,
guess,
I
I
just
think this
wondered.
probably goes somewhere around here. So
Mhm.
they would be, as written, and I think that rightfully so, we should be requiring they remove that 25-foot buffer zone. So if they have to modify the size of
Oh, yeah.
their court, then that's something they're going to have to do.
No, I was
But
just
when I
curious.
spoke to Brooke, one thing that she was asking about is if we do require they have some sort of water break, would that be outside of that 25-foot restoration area, or would that be inside that restoration kind of line, 25-foot line? On this plan, she has that kind of stone break outside of that 25-foot riverfront area.
Mhm.
So that's another thing that we may kind of go back and forth with the homeowner about.
Mhm. Commissioners, comments?
I just had a question, just to be clear, with the 25-foot buffer is, they will have to rip that asphalt up, correct? From that point,
Yeah, absolutely.
going
So
back?
if you look on the map here, the 25-foot like riverfront area is marked by this kind of pink line. So all that asphalt closer to that brook is going to be removed.
Okay.
Yeah, the initial plan had the asphalt that will be removed hashed. It didn't quite make it to the revised plan here, so there would be a difference between, to show you the area that will be removed versus just what's currently existing.
And also, Kyle, I know you mentioned something about Pine Brook Consulting. It sounds like they have put together the plan for the applicant. Do you know if they would actually do the construction as well, or?
I'm not sure who would actually do the work. Probably not them.
Mhm.
And we can inquire
Just-
about that.
Yeah, it
next
doesn't
month.
seem like there's a lot of room to manipulate, to maneuver equipment around to.
Well, I mean, you can drive a vehicle back here. They extended the
Yeah.
driveway, so you can. This is a full size. You can drive, vehicles, vans, whatever back here. And I think they wouldn't have a problem accessing the site. And it's all
Okay.
paved here too. So if they have heavy equipment, it'll be on that will we can require that
Yeah.
remain on the paved surfaces as they do the work.
Okay.
So I guess we could just continue this
Commissioners?
to the next hearing unless there are other questions, concerns.
Are there any recommendations that any of the commissioners might have? Oh, Ruby? Not sure.
None really, other than continuing to just kind of absorb it a little bit.
Mhm.
Kyle just gave us a lot of information and yeah, just give
Okay.
us time to come up with our thoughts.
Okay. Ruby, would you like to make a motion to continue to the next meeting?
I make a motion to continue this hearing to the next meeting dated, is it February 21st?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, okay.
Second.
So the motion's been made and seconded to continue the hearing for the notice of intent on 155 Winthrop Street to February 21st. Roll call vote, please.
Keeler, aye.
Clay, aye.
Green eye.
Matt, I.
And Voris, aye. That motion passes. Thank you. See, number 3 was Copeland Street. That's been continued. Number 4 is a notice of intent for 10 Peckham Avenue. It was a residential.
Oh, I'm sorry,
construction.
Madam Chair, before we move on, I see that Keith Brewer is in the chat now. So
Oh,
do you mind if we allow
no,
him
I
to
don't
speak
mind at all. I did.
about
Okay.
this project here?
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Brewer, welcome.
All right, Keith, you are able to speak, but you're muted.
Yeah, I'm just trying, I'm struggling along here, just trying to get on. Had a friend of mine helping me I've been on about 10 minutes, but I can't, can you folks hear me now?
And we can see you
Oh, you can see me, okay,
and hear you. Yes. Hi.
okay, all right, Jeff, I'm gonna hang up, thanks.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, yeah, I apologize, I thought I'd be able to get in, I'm kind of new at this, but I did follow along. Kyle, thank you, I think you did a great, intro and a narrative. I don't have much more to add other than, you've already kind of emphasized, as far as, what we're trying to do here, the intent and, what the problems are and, what we'll end up with. I mean, I do agree also that we can, move this forward to February, since the weather permitting, there's not much we can do with the planting of the shrubs and things. But at least it gives you folks an idea what we're up against and how we can work with you and try to come to a conclusion, successfully for all.
Mhm.
I appreciate it. Once again, I apologize. I was able to hear you. I couldn't figure out how to use this to get in
I'm-
here.
Mr.
If you have
Brewer-
any questions, I'd be glad to answer if anyone has any questions.
Do you represent Pine Brook Consulting? Are you
I
working with Pine
represent
Brook?
the homeowners are, they're from Peru, they're Peruvians, and we have a mutual friend that asked me to assist with this. She kind of takes care of a lot of business with them in town. Rosanna Koala is her name, and she handles a lot, for example, the real estate or anything that they might need, concerns with taxes, things in America. A lot of them are new to the
Of course.
country or not familiar, so she helps them with everything. So she reached out to me for this. I mainly do building permits, but this one came up, and I told her I'd be willing to help and learn also. It's great to learn all this stuff going forward. It's going to be more and more relative. And plus it just, it's, in this case for Brockton, I think it's great. It's gonna help continue to, clean up the city, make it better and better, and, we wanna be part of it. So I think representing the homeowners, I can just say that, they wanna cooperate and, I've told you what their intent is, I believe. Or actually, Kyle, you did, as far as the volleyball, that's a big thing to the culture. And I don't think I could add anything else right now, unless you folks have questions.
I have none. Commissioners?
I have none at this time.
Okay, so
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brew.
just one other thing. So you're going to continue this on till February meeting, is that correct?
Correct.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay. That's great. Okay. Once again, I apologize for popping in late there, and
Mhm.
thank you for your support.
The only
And-
thing that I might ask, Kyle, do you expect these plans to change at all, or are you going to be saying anything, Pine about that?
We may
Just-
change the plans a little bit more. I don't know that I'm sure the homeowner is not going to be thrilled about that 5 foot gravel kind of buffer. I was thinking something along the lines of like a foot, something is like a foot in width. Because again, the grade here isn't that steep that I think you need like a 5 foot a stone break. So that might be something that we modify to kind of try to make this more palatable for the homeowner.
Mhm.
But I can
Lee,
talk to Brooke
since-
about that.
Yeah,
When she gets back.
That would be great. Anything we can do. I mean, I understand that we're going to have to do some disturbance here, but whatever we can do to help them as far as try to maintain some sort of clearing so they could keep the volleyball court, and then, of course, at the same time, the mitigation required.
I'm not sure
And-
about, does anyone, and Kyle, I'm not sure, or at least, are there restrictions for how close you can park a porta potty to a resource area or cars?
Well, that would be something that we would, with the order of conditions, we would require that not be within that buffer area, certainly.
Yeah, I just didn't know what the
One thing that
requirements.
we could do is not with the porta potty, but we could incorporate the volleyball lines on a new plan if you want to see that for next month.
Yeah,
To see how that would fit with the restoration area. I think if they intend to continue with that use back there, I think that might be helpful.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
if the
it would.
if the guards are way out there constantly trampling the area that was, planted,
right,
I'm
so
not
that's
sure
what we
that
want
that
to
would be,
avoid.
okay. That sounds
yeah, that
reasonable.
porta potty definitely doesn't have to stay there. I'm not even sure why that's there. That can go up much closer to the house, the dwelling, and put it up there. I don't remember that being there when I was there, but that they might have moved that around, but that definitely won't stay there. They can tuck that in somewhere on the dwelling side, away from all that area here that's that we're discussing.
Thank you for the photos. Thank you, Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, everybody. Kyle, great job on that narrative. I think you did
Thank you.
pretty good there. Look forward to seeing you folks again.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
I can figure out how to leave. Okay. I see it.
Okay, I'm glad you noticed that, Kyle. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, we'll continue on then to number 4, notice of intent, 10 Peckham Avenue, J.K. Holmgren.
Yeah, Mr. Feria is just promoted him so he can speak.
Good. Hello, Mr. Feria. How are you, Mr. Feria?
Good evening, Madam Chair. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Good evening, Commission members. Scott Farrier from Holmgren Engineering. We're here for a continued filing for a notice of intent that's been kicking back and forth with Beta for, I feel like, a few months now, Madam Chair. We've been before you at least once to make an introduction for the project. What we're proposing is a 2-family home on Peckham Ave. It's a vacant lot, had a multifamily home on it years and years ago. It's been vacant for a long time. We do have a resource area on the property. The Trout Brook is at the very rear of the property. So we have buffer zones that are associated with the Trout Brook that fall on the property. But really our biggest issue on the property was the flood plain. There's an existing 100-year flood elevation that really encompasses the majority of the lot and a good section of Peckham Ave. So we've been back and forth with Beta for a little bit to try to get the calculations just right to make sure that our cuts and our fills equal out. So I think we've finally taken care of that, Madam Chair, and we're at the point now where we have everybody satisfied and ready to proceed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Tripp, can you give us a summary of what the findings were with Beta?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
So as Scott, went over, we did have some back and forth, but the most recent plan that was provided showed a slight reduction in the size of the home. And that is through that, basically, we were able to confirm compliance with the performance standards for work within bordering land subject to flooding. So Beta recommended approval, provided that a new revised WPA Form 3 was provided, as well as a signed operation and maintenance plan. We suggested that could be included as a special condition. And then we also suggested a few special conditions, one relating to use of fill on the project site being clean and free of debris, and that the flag boundary was approved for this filing only, as well as a special condition that an as-built plan be provided with the request for a certificate of compliance to confirm that the grades are per plan. So I'm not sure if the commission has received the revised WPA Form 3, but that was the only outstanding item that Beta recommended be provided before any votes.
And if you could just
And
clarify.
we have received that the updated notice of intent filing form along with the signed O&M.
Yeah, they're in the file, I believe, right? I think I saw them in the file
They've been
today.
uploaded as well. Mhm.
Yeah. If you could just very quickly, for those of us that aren't familiar, could you very quickly explain what a Form 3, why is a WPA Form 3?
It's
Why
the
would
notice
that
of it.
A notice of intent? Yeah, a
it's the
new notice of intent, right?
form. Yeah, well, so it's the same notice of intent. We requested a new form be provided to, or at least the specific page that documents the impact numbers be provided based off of the revised calculations, cut and fill calculations that documented compliance. So it's more so having that information specifically on the WPA for Form 3, which is that notice of intent form, is specifically helpful for issuance of an order of conditions, as that is the number, that impact number would be put on that order of conditions.
Because that is what's
Yeah.
required to meet the letter of the law.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Okay, let's see, what else did I see? Kyle, did you have anything to add or any questions or
Yeah, I've just got one
before I open it to
comment.
the commission?
Yeah, so Scott, I don't think I ever received like the most recent plans with the agreed upon cut and fill tables. The most recent plans that I have were from September 25th.
Boy.
So I imagine there's something that you've been, I know you've been going back and forth with Beta to kind of iron this out, but maybe as part of the vote tonight, if the commission does decide to issue the order of conditions, that can be conditional upon receipt of the updated plans with the correct cut and fill numbers.
I'll forward it as soon as we hang up here, Kyle. Sorry about that.
Great. Hey, no problem. Thank you. But other than that, Madam Chair, I don't have any additional comments.
Okay. Commissioners, questions or comments of the applicant?
I have none.
Yeah, I'm good too.
Okay. I believe we would have to open this up to the public, correct? To see if there are any public comments?
Yes.
Is there anyone
Madam Chair.
here that would like to speak to 10 Peckham Avenue?
I don't see any hands in the attendees, Madam Chair.
Okay. Well, then if so, then I entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Make a motion to close the hearing of 10 Peckman Avenue.
Seconded.
Motion has been made and seconded to close the hearing on 10 Peckham Avenue. Roll call vote, please.
Bigler, aye.
Clay, I.
I abstain because the filing was before I was on the commission.
Knapp,
And Voris, aye. We still have quorum, so that's fine. And now I entertain a motion then to, well, it's up to the commission.
And this is for issuing the order of conditions.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion to issue an order of conditions with special conditions outlined in the agent's report dated December 28th, and any other additional special conditions discussed.
Okay, I might amend that. Would it be Beta's report perhaps?
It would be
Special
Beta's
conditions?
report.
Correct. Beta's report, yes.
Okay. Okay, that
Second.
motion's been, okay, motion's been made and seconded to issue an order of conditions for 10 Peckham Avenue with standard conditions as well as special conditions that are evidenced in the Beta report. Roll call vote, please.
Bigler, aye.
Clay, I.
I abstain.
Mhm. And Voris, aye. And that motion passes.
All right,
Thank you,
great.
Mr. Ferry.
Thank you, folks. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Okay, let's see. Notice of intent for East Ashland was continued, as was, question about 511 Thatcher. I think you said Mr. Daggett was present.
Oh, yeah, Scott Daggett is an attendee. Scott, if you are wanting to speak about this project, you're welcome to, but we did receive a continuance request. So
Mr. Daggett, do you have a desire to speak to the solar canopy construction project at 511 Thatcher Street?
if so, Scott, you'll need to raise your hand and then we can promote you. Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, Mr. Daggett. Hi, happy New
Okay,
Year.
great. So, hello, Madam Chair. I am only here attending just to make sure that it did get continued. We did receive some comments, a second set of comments from Beta for a review. And as Kyle had mentioned in an email, there would not be enough time to address those comments. So we were seeking a continuance until the next meeting, so we have enough time to address those comments.
It seems reasonable.
So at this time, I have nothing. Yeah, so at this time, I have nothing new to add. There's really been no changes at this time other than, the current review comments made by Beta. So we will be addressing those and presenting those at the next meeting.
Okay, commissioners, any questions?
None at this.
No.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Daggett, and apparently we will see you in February.
Great. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Let's see. The next item on the agenda, whether or not anyone is here to speak to it, would be 0 Toby Road, bordering vegetated wetlands and riverfront delineation in ANRAD.
Councilor Lally is an attendee. Councilor, if you would like to speak to this, I know this is something you've been interested in. You're welcome to raise your hand. We can promote you. Otherwise, well, here he is. Okay, I'll promote Councilor. And then if I may, Madam Chair, just to reiterate, this project is up for peer review by Beta. Beta has submitted a scope and fee request to the applicant. The applicant has yet to fund this request. So there's been no movement on this since it was initially presented to the commission.
Do you have any idea when the scope and fee was presented?
I don't have that date in front of me. It's been a couple months, I think, since the applicant has had that scope and fee. There's been some concerns about the cost involved, and they've been in kind of a discussion with Beta over that. So,
Okay.
But at this point, nothing's been funded, so no, Beta's not begun their peer review.
So we will, yeah, so we really don't have anything to discuss, so it should be continued. Mr. Lally?
No, hi, Madam Chair.
Hi.
No,
Happy
I
New
don't.
Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I don't have a ton to say on it. I did want to be present just in case something came up, but I do want to express my appreciation to Mr. Holden for his vigilance and his effort to make sure that keep me in the loop on it as well. I just was sticking around just to see if anything had come up, but if they're gonna be if this is gonna continue, then I look forward to seeing the commissioners at whatever meeting it comes up in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I was just wondering if they did not request a continuance, we would request the continuance for them, or do we table until they've actually come through with a decision on the payment?
I think that you can continue this for them.
Yeah, Madam Chair, actually, I was going to, I figured I would wait till we made it through most of the agenda, just in case anybody was around to speak to some of the projects. But even if the applicant has requested a continuance, for clarity of the public as well, the commission should vote to continue those hearings and then vote on that specific day so that it is on the record for any members of the public or other attendees that might be
I
interested.
just wasn't sure. If it's been a few months, I wasn't sure exactly how long you can continually continue, but that's fine. Yeah. Okay, then I entertain a vote to continue 0 Toby Road to the February 21st meeting. If the commissioner would make that motion, please.
Yep, I make a motion to continue this hearing to February 21st for Toby Road.
Second.
So the motion's been made and seconded to continue 0 Toby Road till February 21st. Roll call vote, please.
Equal eye.
Clay, aye.
Green eye.
Map I.
Voris, aye. That motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you,
Perkins
Commissioner.
Avenue. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Lally. Perkins Avenue is continued to February 21st. And the next two are really by discussions, correct, with the commission?
Yeah,
Nice.
that's correct.
Certainly a short meeting. Thank you. 26 Allen Street, Mr. Holden?
Yeah, so this is one that we've kind of been going back and forth. I guess before we move on, Elise, that's the end of the filings that we have with Beta. I mean, you're welcome to stick around, but it's also not required. So that's completely up to you. So 26 Allen Street, this has been something that's been kind of on our radar collectively since April of 2023. There was a bunch of, basically there was like some dumping that had occurred in this parcel that was next to the brook that runs by the property. We issued a violation notice. We have not issued an enforcement order yet. What happened was we issued this early spring, and then shortly after that, things started to warm up, and there's a lot of Japanese knotweed in the area, and that just really shot up and really obscured the ground, and you couldn't really see where things that needed to be removed were. So the commission decided to give the property owner some time to into the fall to allow that greenery to fall to die back, so we could actually get access to the site and remove the trash. A month or so ago, the property owner did hire a company to come out and remove things. This was, I think, maybe right before our previous meeting, like the night of our previous meeting. They did do that work, but they did it at nighttime, and they got most of the big stuff. I mean, like all of the big stuff. They were like couches and TVs and like large pieces of like fences that were there. All of that has been removed, but there are smaller, like just trash, bottles and things like that that are still present. And I spoke to the property owner about this. In addition to, there was a dumpster adjacent to the property that they also own, that property that the dumpster's on, and the dumpster hadn't been emptied for a long time, and there was just a lot of debris and bags and trash that was there. So I spoke to her about getting that removed as well. The trash at the dumpster had been removed by the city. The city actually went in and removed that. They call it a clean and lien, where the city does the work and then they put a lien on the property to recoup the cost of doing that work. So the dumpsters are manageable now. I just drove by there. I was back by there last Thursday, and I noted that there was still trash, but I didn't take any photos when I was there because I was hoping to visit the site again before the meeting tonight to give you a final kind of update in case that they had cleaned it in the meantime. I did go again today, but as you all know, we have had snow and it's very difficult to see what's exactly there. I don't think that any of the trash, these small items, have been removed. I could see things popping up through the snow. So I don't think any action has happened since last week when I was there. So unfortunately, I don't have any photos for you. I was anticipating taking photos today for the commission, but that just didn't work out with the weather. So at this point, we're kind of, I'm just wanting guidance from the commission as to what we want to do moving forward. There was talk about issuing an enforcement order if no action had been taken by the December meeting. We pushed that off because they were planning on doing that work the day of the December meeting. Now they have done some of the work. And they have removed all the trash from the dumpster that was overflowing, but it's not pristine. I would estimate that it might take an individual 40 minutes with a plastic trash bag out there to kind of really get everything. There's not a lot there, but it's certainly not cleaned up. But the question, I guess, for the commission is, what standard are we holding this property owner to when you look down the street and there's trash all over, and at what point are we comfortable saying, okay, well, they removed most of the things, a lot of, the big things, TVs, refrigerators that were there, that's all out. But there is just miscellaneous small debris that's still there. But again, what threshold are we comfortable with as a commission? So I guess that's a topic for discussion.
Mm-hmm. Have you sent any formal letters or anything in response to the nighttime trash pickup or anything like that, or any follow-up? Have you sent her any follow-up letters or anything at all about that?
It's all been verbal. I spoke to her over the
Okay.
phone, and that's it. She said she was going to have them come back out. I don't think that's ever happened. So
Okay.
I can send another letter that way it's on the record. And if we want to give them another month or so to kind of get that cleaned up before we escalate to an enforcement order, that is certainly an option.
Commissioners, what do you think? Do you think, couches and TVs certainly would warrant an enforcement order, but I think we need to strongly word that our expectations are that the trash and litter should be removed. I'm not sure. Commissioners, Laura, what do you think? Lily?
I mean,
Rifa?
even with an enforcement order, it doesn't really, we know we can't find them.
Yeah.
Maybe if we issue a final notice that says you have 20 days to have it, that you go out, Kyle, and you can see that everything's been completed. If not, it would advance. But again, to what extent when you're looking down the street at other things?
Exactly.
I think we have to be realistic there. But yeah, I mean,
There's no litter ordinance in the city of Brockton, huh?
nope.
Terrible. I feel like after that windstorm rain we had last week, and then, there was so much debris around in my backyard from other people's property. So
Mhm.
it'd be nice
Yeah, I mean,
kinda-
it's almost impossible even if your property is spotless, you know, there's, as Sharifa was saying, any of this wind, I mean, and there's just trash all over. So, you know,
Yeah, I know.
you know,
Maybe to encourage people to, by doing this, so that, like Laura mentioned,
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you.
said that maybe it'll encourage other property owners then if they see, the neighbor is getting a notice in the mail that they need to clean up their property to make it a little more pristine, that, it will trickle over and other people will start to pick up on doing that, doing a better job.
Does the owner live in this residence though? I don't think so.
No, it's not, it is not owner occupied.
Mm,
It's rented.
mm.
I kind of agree with Laura on the kind of 20 days, hey, I mean, she did get the big stuff. That was a really good effort.
Yeah,
Been dealing
and
with
I
this for a
agree. I
little
mean,
bit,
I
so,
think
yeah.
majority of the concern has been addressed.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
at what point do we want to say,
Right.
okay, this is great, let's move on, and
yeah. I think with like Laura said, give a little bit more time to get the rest of it cleaned up and see what effort is made with that. And then I think
Yeah.
you set the example after that.
There's
Yeah.
a formal letter, then we at least have that on file to close. the
Correct.
meeting, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yep.
yeah, I can absolutely do that, no problem.
Good. So there's no action required by us,
Nope, I mean, not by you.
just by you. Okay, so number 10, the last one, Howard Square, 28 Howard Square.
Yeah, so this is a fun one. So I don't know if any of you were paying attention when we were looking at the photos for 155 Winthrop, but when I was there, I noticed a neighbor who has some issues. So if you recall, on the north side of the property on 155 Winthrop, there's that Cold Spring Brook that runs. On the north side of that brook, across the way from Winthrop, the yard's an absolute mess. There's a ton of debris and trash and things that are literally in the water. So I've got some photos uploaded online. You can all check it out later, but I'm going to go ahead and share some of these. Before I do that, I'm going to show you kind of what we're dealing with. I have not issued an enforcement order for this property yet. I was doing some reading on kind of state guidance on this. So I can do that, and I'm planning on doing that this week. But the commission can vote to issue an enforcement order, and I will just kind of follow through on that. And we won't need to go back and ratify it if the commission just votes to do that first. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and share some of these photos. So this is the property 20 Howard Square. And you can see there's just wood and other debris literally in the waterway. There are some metal poles. These are gas cans or some sort of, liquid container. There's lumber. And this is I've got a few different angles, so I'm gonna kind of file through the photos. I did do a site visit the following day. So this is I took these from across I took these photos from 155 Winthrop Street, that property, when I was out there doing the site visit. And you can see that there's a kind of the storage container. When I was out there the following day, I spoke to one of the residents, and they said they were planning on housing chickens there. You can't quite see it here on this photo, but when I was out there and on the photos that I took the following day, you can see that this is like corn husks from a garden that they had like right up next to the river. So there's just a whole bunch of debris. There's like concrete cinder blocks back over here piled up, wood. So in the enforcement order, basically what we're going to be saying to them is, hey, this is not permittable and you need to clean it up. We're not going to require a restoration plan. They just need to remove all of this stuff from that like kind of 25-foot buffer area. They can stage these things in their yard, but they can't be this close to the water. Obviously, this is a problem. So that's kind of my idea for the enforcement order for this. Then you'll also note, you can see it pretty well in this photo. Obviously, there's this chain link fence here and here. That's the property line. There is debris over in this adjacent property. I don't know that came from the adjacent property. Like this is a pretty thick set of woods, and it looks like all this stuff was piled through the fence from this property. But we can also issue an enforcement order for the adjacent property to have them clean this up as well. That property is 24 Howard Square. So I was thinking tonight we would just, the commission we can discuss this, but then we could vote to issue an enforcement order for at least 20 Howard Square and potentially 24 Howard Square as well.
So this said 28 Howard Square on the,
Yeah,
On,
I didn't think about issuing an enforcement order to the other property as well until after we had
Oh,
the
okay.
agenda posted. So this would just be in addition to this. This is more of a discussion thing. This isn't a public hearing. They don't need
Sure.
notice that we're having this discussion, so that's not a
Sure.
problem.
sure.
I've got some more photos. I'm going to stop sharing this kind of folder and go back. And I've got the photos that I had of the following day from that property itself.
I mean, it's in the resource area. It's not at the 25.
Yeah, this is straight up in the intermittent stream. This is, and you can see here, there's the van that we saw in the first photo of Winthrop.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, this is, it's obviously just over the bank into the waterway. So action is certainly required here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're dealing with. But as far as like what the remedy is, they just need to clean it up and move this stuff out of the resource area. And the riverfront area, the buffer, like kind of the buffer to the brook.
Is that the pile at 20?
Yeah, this is the pile at 24 next door. So
Yeah.
again, this is also within the resource area, the 25-foot riverfront area. You know, you can see an old tire here, but it looks like this was all pushed in from 28, but it's on this other property, so they're responsible for this as well.
Mhm.
But you can see there's these are corn stalks from a garden. One thing we may include in the enforcement order is saying that you're not allowed to farm that close to the waterway, because you know they have plenty of space for a garden in other areas of the yard, but you know you're applying nitrogen and phosphorus to, you know, fertilizer to this, and that's right by the waterway. Any rain's going to flush right directly into the brook. So this is just and there, you know, you can see some masonry here. Yeah, so it's kind of a mess back there. And these things are piled up, these logs are piled up basically on the top of the bank for the brook.
Do you wouldn't happen to have a map to
I
show
do,
where this
yeah, I
is
can do
on
that
the
as well.
city?
So I think this may be my last photo or two, and then I'll pull up the map so you can kind of see where things lie. So again, there's just a bunch of material staging. For what purpose, I don't know. But they just can't do this within the buffer zone. Okay, I will share another screen of the kind of where the site is in relationship to everything else. Okay, this is an aerial from Mass Mapper, and you can see this long lot here is Winthrop. And we'll just note while we're here, the old extent of pavement for the driveway kind of ended right by the house. And then what they've done since then is they basically paved this entire back area, which is now asphalt. But as I was there, I looked across to this lot, which is 28 Howard Square, which is the topic of discussion. And then there's a little bit of debris that went over into this portion of 24 Howard Square.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Commissioners?
Gonna give them 30 days to clean it up?
We
Yep.
would include some sort of time frame. So yeah, 30 days or you know, yeah, we could require action and
I
have
think it
them
should
come to the next
definitely be a
meeting and demonstrate compliance.
definitely an enforcement order as opposed to a
Correct.
violation, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Correct. Yes. I immediately was thinking enforcement order as soon as I saw those pictures, Kyle. Absolutely.
Okay. Good. Your voice is gone.
Oh, sorry. So I would need a vote from the commission to issue the enforcement order with whatever conditions we decide upon. And then I would also want to know if you want me to issue also one for the adjacent property, 24 Howard Square, in addition to 28. I don't know if I said that right. The 24 Howard Square is the neighboring
the only one.
parcel with just that little pile of lumber and stuff. But we would want to vote for both properties separately.
Would the 24 be as dramatic? Could that be a violation notice? Because it's not like it's in the drink. It looks
I
like
think
it's
that
up
you
on the
could-
bank, but
I think you can do an enforcement order for both.
For both?
Likely they'll. I don't think that 24 was the one that put all that stuff there. So, they would just
we'll
clean
find
that up,
out. Yeah,
call their neighbor and tell them to get that stuff out of there. And they would just kind of do all
Yeah.
that at once is kind of how I'm envisioning this. But I think that you treat them both the same,
Okay.
and then we'll just kind of move on with both of them.
it seems reasonable. Commissioners, do you agree? You think?
Agreed.
So we'll require, action to be taken within the next month and have them attend in the next meeting in February and demonstrate that they've removed all of that out of the resource area itself, and then also out of that 25-foot riverfront area. Does that sound reasonable? With the condition
Yes.
of like no garden within that riverfront area.
And then would they have to, if they did want to stockpile in their yard, would it have to be just 25, just outside the 25? That's all that's required? It's no like,
For
not like there's a
us, I
BBW.
think for us, that's all that we can do.
Yeah.
There are other codes and violations that the health department also cited this property for different
Oh, they
things.
did.
And they are also requiring that they are cleaning things up. But that's outside of that riverfront area too. So I think this is in addition to whatever the health department is requiring, just to kind of,
Good.
kind of encourage compliance with both.
Okay. So commissioners, I entertain a motion to have Kyle submit an enforcement, is it a submission? I don't know. Draft
Issue an enforcement order.
issue, thank you. To issue an enforcement order, yep, for both 28 and 24 Howard, well, I guess two different votes, right? For
Different votes, yep.
28 Howard Square would be for the first one.
I make a motion to issue a enforcement order for 28 Howard Square with the conditions we just stated to Kyle.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to issue for Kyle to issue an enforcement order for 28 Howard Square with a requested attendance at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Spiegler, aye.
Clay, aye.
Green eye.
Map I.
And Voris, aye, that motion passes. And now it's 24, or was it 20, the second one?
24 Howard Square.
24. And for 24 Howard Square, the issuance of an enforcement order, as discussed.
I make a motion to issue the enforcement order for 24 Howard Square with the same description and conditions that we discussed.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Spiegler, aye.
Clay, aye.
Green eye.
Map I.
And Voris, aye. The motion carries.
All right,
Is
thank
there
you.
anything else that needs to be discussed by the commission?
I don't have anything else for you.
No? This trip is lovely to see you.
You too.
Okay, Happy New Year, everybody. And
We should vote to adjourn the meeting though, Madam Chair.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
Or it could go on forever.
Mm.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I think we could just all say aye, right? We don't have to do a roll call for that, do we? Aye, aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Okay,
Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
take care.
You
Thank you,
too.
Pat.
Good night.
Bye-bye.